Yo, what's up everyone? It is Dynamics here, joining you again from the studio with another tutorial. I just firstly want to thank everybody who checked out, liked and subscribed after seeing part 1 of this subject. If you didn't check that video, I'll put a link for it because it contains the sort of key information to what we're going to do today. Now, what today is about is taking the principles from the first video, creating a phase modulation, phase cancellation base for rhythmic modulation, and we're going to apply it to two different kinds of bass. So I've whipped up a kind of 808 style bass, and then we've just got the basic sub bass, which we're going to use for a call and response. So what I'll then do is show you guys how you can go under the hood and then take this whole principle a bit further so we can start getting into some really creative territory with it. So if you're new to the channel and you've just landed here, thanks for coming. Please like and subscribe, so it really helps my channel to grow. It helps me to do more content for you guys like this, and I really hope that you'll get something out of it. And also leave your comments below if you've got questions or anything that you'd like to say. Get engaged, I'd love to hear from you. Alright guys, so let's crack on. We have got Vital Synth open. At the moment we've got the 808 patch that I've whipped up. And 808 is very easy to make. You essentially take a sine wave, you run it through some clipping or some distortion, and then in your matrix you map an envelope, which in this case is LFO1, and you'll see it sweeping down, and that's mapped to the voice, the global voice of the synthesizer. So it hits and the pitch sweeps down, sort of similar to a kick. Now, when we went into the first video and I showed you about setting up this bass with a single oscillator, we used unison with two voices, so it essentially took two oscillators and made it all in one side, inside one oscillator, and then we took the stereo unison and we brought it into the center, into mono, which is over here in the advanced tab. That's stereo, that's mono. By having those two voices in unison, in mono, we then get this phase cancellation, phase modulation within a single oscillator. At the moment though, you'll see that it's only on one voice, and the reason for that is that LFO4 is actually mapped to the voices, and I've got these LFOs set up in envelope mode, so they only trigger once, it doesn't repeat. Now then I've taken my macro 1 here and I've mapped that macro to the LFO. So when I turn this up, it triggers this LFO to engage. Now the reason that I've done that is it gives me the option to use like a straight 808 and then have a modulated one all within inside the one patch. So if we hit the key, that's normal, and then when I turn on and turn up that macro all the way, you'll hear it's different, right? And you can see here up in the unison area that you'll see that the voices increase just in the center part. So that kind of gives me this nice little front 808 attack, and then I get the modulation happening on the tail on the release of the note, which is cool. This is going to be a lot more fun to work with. I've also taken that a little bit further, and I've taken LFO5 and I've mapped that to macro 2. But what's actually happening is LFO5 is doing exactly what LFO4 did, but it is also increasing the amount of voices. But remember that our voices are in mono. Now, the more voices that you introduce, the more you get detuning, which is in mono, which phase cancels. So that then means that you get more random rhythmic beating. So if I turn this up, you'll hear now that both of these macros are engaged, and we're going to get a much more different result. Pretty cool, eh? So you start to get some really interesting random movement happening inside of the synth. Okay, so we're going to turn those down for now. Now let's jump over to the wobble sub. So this is set up exactly like I did in the first video. So we've got two voices which are in mono, stereo, mono. So we've got that rhythmic beating, and we've got it set at the default value of 20%. But what I've actually done is I've got two options here. I've got a macro, which is increasing the amount of stereo unison by percentage. So when I turn that up, we get a faster movement. But I've also mapped the modulation wheel as well. And the reason I've done two is simply to give me options or choice. And I use it as an example for you guys because you might prefer to have things set up in macros and then automate it within your DAW. Or you might be a little bit more like me who likes to play and likes to be hands-on. And by having this map to the mod wheel, I can sort of, play along and hit the mod wheel and feel things out as I'm jamming to the tune. We're gonna go straight over to the session and we're gonna start automating some of this in. Now, here we've got a track that I've whipped up. It's got the break that I used from the first video, and we've got some amens, and we've got the funky drummer, so we're going a little bit jungly today, and then some patches and a classic synth as well. So should sound familiar and new at the same time, hopefully. All right. So let's hear it. Oh, yeah. All right, so let's go to the automation lane. So I'm going to click on my 808 first. We're going to open up automation, and you'll see here straight away that there's something jumping out at us. And what that is macro 1. So macro 1 on the synth. We've got our automation lane here, and we've got macro 2 also set up ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn off the amen break for a second, and I just want to hear a bit more of a basic drum just so I can kind of hear what's going on. So we'll play through it, and then we're just going to chuck in the automation lanes and quickly flesh out some rhythm. Cool. So I just listened to it through. We've got straight 808s through here, straight 808s on the first two, and the last one wobbles out, and the last one wobbles out over here too. I'm going to do the same thing on the very last one, but I'm going to wobble it on the last two, but then what I'm going to do is introduce macro 2, which makes it even more wild, and I'm going to put it on the last one. Let's hear how that sounds. Sick, mate. It's sounding sick. Okay, cool. So you get the idea. We can start to use these modulations and different macros to make the track feel more interesting. Because remember I said in the first video that a sub is pretty like just a sub. It's just a bass. It's all down the bottom. You can't really hear a sub, you feel a sub. So by creating this modulation, we can feel more because we're changing the movement of it. All right, let's go over to part 2 and we'll see if we'll use the same automation. Maybe we'll do something different. Yeah, so it's got that little stop. So I'm gonna chuck a tail in here. I think I might put 2 wobbles on the front and then a straight. Yep, I'm going to put a wobble there. And then I think I'll just finish it up like I did last time. So I'm going to go wobble, no wobble, wobble. And then let's call macro 2, we'll just refer to it as double wobble from here on in. I don't really care. I'm sure you guys will be following me. Sick. Alright, I'm pretty happy with how that automation is sounding. So I'm actually just going to copy this one over. And I'm going to do the same thing with the first edits. So say repeat this idea. We can obviously make changes if we want to. But for the sake of getting along with this, let's do it. Okay, I'm happy with how that's going to be for now. Now the second part is working with the wobble sub. So I want to play for you this through, and I'm going to use the macro for this, but we'll just listen to it how it is. Start moving it and see what feels right. Let's record that in. Nice. So if you just want to hear what that's doing in solo so you can get a better idea, I would recommend, if you're not listening on a decent pair of monitors with low end representation, or just off your phone, make sure you get some headphones, something that'll let you hear the subs is what I'm saying. So you hear that? It's actually pitching up the movement. Left this one normal. Yeah, so you start getting that beating going on. All right, now let's go to the second part. I think that last one I put in, I don't want. So I'm just going to go to my modulation automation here. I'm just going to take that out. But I think what I'll do is do a bit of a pitch bend, because the pitch bend, like when I hit a pitch bend, it's going to sweep because it's phasing anyway. Okay, so let's just see if a pitch bend will sound good on the front. Just going to change this to quarters. There we go. Bit shorter. Now I could actually see if I hit the mod wheel during this part, I can create more rhythm on the tweak. Yeah. Let's record that in. Nice. Yeah, so that's creating some really nice movement in the sub. And I think that'll be good. That's like that bit done. Alright, and we'll copy it over. So we'll duplicate it. And then we've got our last little bit, this outro. The rollout, as I've called it. Okay, I'm going to bring the amen break back in now. So what I'm thinking is, because there's that really nice shuffle on the funky drummer break, I'm going to use the rhythmic beating of the sub line to kind of interplay against the shuffle. So I'm just going to drop that in. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to record it. it's really that simple, guys. So once you've set everything up, you are pretty much good to go, and you can just start recording stuff in. All right, let's listen to the track, play through, and see how it all sounds. Boo! And that, my friends, is how you phase modulate and cancel your bass movement to jungle out. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and found it informative and inspiring. So I want you to really take away this whole concept of using mono bass with phase modulation the way I've shown you, and explore it, because the more you've mucked around with making your own patches and understand your synth, you can start to see ways that you can really go to town with it, and you can get into some wild territory. Let alone just like working with sine waves here, when you start adding other harmonic components to it, you can get to some really interesting results. I'm being totally genuine with you guys when I say that I use this technique a lot in my bass lines. So have fun with it, experiment, and happy producing, you know? So thanks so much for coming. Thank you for being here at my channel today. It is appreciated. You know, if you could go and share this video, I'd really appreciate it. If there's other producers that you're friends with that you think would benefit from it, please send it to them. Obviously, like the video and subscribe if you feel that what I'm giving you here is of value. And I'll see you in the next video.